Well, I'm at a loss. None of this makes a damn bit of sense. True, very true. But the autumn gale was an exception. 77 times it swam through the Sea of Ghosts, safely to the northern shore. 77 times through mighty storms and restless seas. It never failed to reach port.
No.
But somehow, on the 78th, on a clear day with a steady wind, it sank to the bottom of Pilgrim's Trench.
Suppose that's a benefit to having so few customers.
Divines only know. The wreckage is too far down the trench to offer any clues. But while we can't salvage the ship, we can salvage her reputation. And, more importantly, the reputation of my business. I love young people who are motivated to work. You can start by delivering these supplies to the salvage team. Here, take this to the leader of the team, Utai. She will handle your payment.
Water-breathing potions. Poor Heron must have forgotten Argonians have no use for such things. If anything, he should have sent health potions. I got bit by a slaughterfish on the last dive. Nearly snapped my arm in two. Still not sure how it held together. Actually, as far as cargo goes, I've checked everything off my list, save for one thing. A lease agreement of some kind. Hopefully it's locked up in a chest somewhere, otherwise I doubt we can recover it. You can? Ha! Old Heron finally sent me something useful after all. Albeit unintentionally. Tell you what, you find anything, I'll give you a share of the salvaging fee. You did? Splendid. I ought to add you to our team. We'll have to change the name, though. Ute and Sons won't really work if you're the one taking the lead. It does, although I can't say there's any truth in the word amazing. Just ask my husband. In any case, I'd like you to take this document back to Heron. This other cargo can be delayed, but documents like that tend to be time sensitive. Great. Here's your share of the salvaging fee. Do me a favor and let him know the rest of the cargo has been recovered. Alright boys, let's pack it up. Got to get this to Dawnstar by week's end.
Yes, Mother. I could have got that journal. Mother's just holding me back. You didn't die. I guess I shouldn't be so surprised.
Good work. The faster we get out of here, the better.
Don't worry, lad. The Autumn Gale never fails to deliver. That's a promise.
The Autumn Gale is at the bottom of the ocean. Who's to say the documents are even legible?
Well, I never said they'd be in perfect condition. Although if you're unsatisfied, I may consider refunding a portion of the payment.
And how are you going to refund my father's life? There's no amount of gold that can compensate me for that.
Oh, right. In that case, I suppose I should just keep the gold then. With the terms of a contract being fulfilled
I think
and all.
Bjorn might disagree with you.
You greedy little snake! I'm going to tear the skin off of your skull!
Hold that thought. It looks like my newest employee has returned. Hopefully you've brought some good news. Well, it's going to cost him, not me. Just hold on to it and let me work my magic. Well, lad, because you're such a valued customer, I went ahead and had my top agent expedite your request. Of course, there is a special fee that's part of our express delivery service.
Fine. Once my father's name is cleared, you'll be paid in full. Just bill me with the details. But first, I want to verify the document.
I'll deliver it personally.
Well, is it true? Do you have the document? Is it signed by Ingrid? A few nobles from Solitude were out hunting and trespassed on my father's land. He mistook them for thieves and, well, things got bloody. One of the men was gravely injured. Now the other wants my father punished. That's up for debate. But if these men were trespassing, it will certainly help his case. It proves my father had a right to be on the land. He signed a lease with one of the Jarl's old thanes back when she was in court. And there's still hope, but it might not be enough. I was wondering perhaps if I could loan your services. I'm on my way to the site of the altercation to see if I can find more evidence. Thank you, Salvager. Hopefully having another set of eyes will help. Good, you came. There's a lot going on here, but we need to find things that corroborate with my father's version of what happened. Not many people can find the place, to be honest, since it's not on any map. The only reason guards were able to arrest my father is because he was forced to spend the night in Solitude. That's partly why you're here. I need an objective witness with no stake in either side. During the fight, the candle horn got knocked over. By the time the snow came, half the place was burned down, along with much of the evidence. Of course, my father said he was cooking dinner when he heard a commotion outside. The trespassers must have shot down the deer. Smelling my father's dinner, they offered to share the venison in exchange for a drink and a warm fire. On this much, both sides agree, but out here you can never be too careful. My father demanded the strangers to leave the property and take the deer with them. The strangers were insulted. In hindsight, my father should have shown more tact. Nobody likes to be called a thief. Eventually, things got heated and shots were fired. These arrows are proof of that. My father ran inside and got his axe. There was a fight near the hearth when one of them knocked over a candle horn. When the fire started, everyone, including my father, fled. Given how detailed my father was, I wouldn't be surprised if your findings match his story. My father never liked hunting. Not at first, anyway. But he learned to love it because he knew how much it meant to me. Part of me thinks this is all my fault. Had I wanted to stay in the city, he wouldn't be in this situation. But then I think back to times we spent together and how much it meant to him, and I don't have the heart to take them away. Have you ever lost anyone close to you, friend? I'm sorry, I know you're just trying to help. Carry on your search, then meet me in Solitude. If we work together, we can still save his life.
And for
Praise
that
the divines,
reason,
you're
I think
here.
it would be a
Come on, let me
mistake to
introduce
waste the
you.
Jarl's time any more than we already have. Further delay will not change the facts at hand.
Mayor, if I may, the witness I spoke of earlier has arrived. Given she's examined the scene of the altercation, I'd like to have her cross-examine Formir's testimony.
Are you sure this witness of yours can be objective?
I had the captain of the guard vet her, just as he did with your apothecary.
Huh. We shall see.
Formir, there's still time to end this folly. The lease agreement proves you are trespassing. I think it's clear to both you and the court that he cannot be held accountable for your injuries.
My Jarl, it is very noble of this man to defend his father's honor, and for that, he should be commended. Unfortunately, his contention that we trespassed on his father's property is simply not true. It is not trespassing if the man invites you into his home.
You mentioned something that would convince us. Please proceed.
Thank you, my Jarl. You see, my housecarl and I were hunting a deer when one of our stray shots happened to hit this man's cottage. An unfortunate accident, but nothing particularly damaging to the woodwork. Well, that's because some of the arrows belonged to my companion. I said I shot one arrow into the cottage by accident. I made no mention of him. Now, if you'll allow me to continue. After the arrow hit the cottage, this man's father came bursting through the door. We apologized for the disturbance. To make amends, we offered to share the venison with him. He agreed and beckoned we come inside. Naturally, we were pleased to get out of the cold.
Steward, when is
My
my
companion
appointment
took
to
to
meet
skinning the
with
deer,
General Tullius?
while I
There are
perused the
some
nearby
issues we
bookshelf.
must speak about.
I remember this
I'm
part
afraid he's
clearly
had to
because I
reschedule,
was
my
pleased to
friend.
find my favorite
By all
series,
accounts,
The Wolf Queen,
waging
on the
war
top shelf.
takes his every
In fact, I had just opened the book to the first page when I heard my companion scream.
For the Jarl, he serves in my capital city.
I'm afraid he can't. His authority comes from the Emperor, who you also serve.
You don't know that.
He uses
You weren't
only
even there.
Hrothgar's resources
Besides,
and doesn't answer
maybe
to
he
me in
simply
the
forgot to put the
slightest.
book back on
This
the
hardly
shelf.
seems fair.
All I know is
Fair
that's
is a
how it
word
happened.
rarely applied to
I would not
politics.
lie in front of the
I'm
Jarl.
afraid you must learn
In any
to
case,
accept this.
as I was saying, I heard my companion scream behind me. I turned around, only to see your father had struck him with his axe.
Liar!
Calm yourself. I let him tell his version. Please allow me the same courtesy.
Fine.
When I saw my injured companion, I acted on reflex. I wrestled the assailant to the ground and told my friend to flee. At that point, I was certain I was going to die. I was fumbling about, trying to find a weapon or perhaps a miracle. My hands found a candle horn. I threw it at my attacker and missed wildly, but when it struck the wood, the cabin lit up like a bonfire. And the fire is what allowed me to escape. And with that, I conclude my testimony. It is my belief that this man's father attacked us without provocation. What I ask for is not vengeance, my Jarl, but for justice. But whatever you decide, I will humbly accept your judgment.
Thank you.
That was amazing. You buried him with his own lies. It was fun watching him try and dig his way out. Barring any surprises, I'm sure Elisif will rule in our favor. Now what?
If it pleases the court, I would like to introduce some new evidence regarding our witness's character, which I have just obtained via courier.
Very well.
Thank you, my Jarl. I do not wish to alarm anyone here, but I believe this information may very well compromise the integrity of our chief witness.
What are you up to, Formir? Explain yourself.
It is not I who has to explain myself. After all, you are the one who attested to the impartiality of this witness. A witness who happens to be a well-known associate of the Thieves Guild. Clearly, both her testimony and the lease brought by Asgeld cannot be admitted.
Oh, come on now, Formir. Now you're just grasping at straws. You've clearly lost. Be thankful you and your companion escaped with your lives.
Curse you! I will do no such thing. My honor demands justice. I request a trial by combat.
Now why would I do that? I'm not going to risk my father's life when the Jarl is minutes away from granting him a pardon.
Huh, I thought for sure you would take that bait. But I won't stand here and give you the satisfaction of winning this trial. I'm dropping the charges.
You're what? But why? What's your game?
Simple. If I allow Elisif to rule in your favor, that means I'll have to defy her will to get my way.
You're a stubborn fool, Formir. But fine. I'd rather not leave it up to the Jarl either.
Then we're agreed. I apologize for wasting the court's time. We will handle this matter internally.
Good. You're dismissed.
Why, Julianus, you did it. You saved my father's life. Yet without people to defend the truth, it withers away like a flower in the dark. We celebrate. I'm sure the first night outside of the dungeon, even the tavern will feel like Sovngarde itself. As for you, here, it's a piece of armor that saved my own life more times than I care to count. It may not be better than what you have, but it's important to me that you have it. Now, I'm off to meet my father. I didn't have anything specific planned, but I'll just order a pint of mead and let it take care of the rest.
Impartial witness.
Steward, I have an idea that might help to bolster the morale of our people in this
Or it's
difficult
murder.
time. I think we shall have a grand parade and let General Tullius march his troops from the Blue Palace to Castle
I think it's time my father moved back to the city. The wilds are too treacherous for someone his age. Thank you again for helping secure my dad's freedom. You're more than welcome to upgrade that armor I gave you, but it's enchanted, so you'll need to know how to forge magical items.